saying I recorded an intro for this episode and I realized that my microphone was not properly plugged in, so I basically have to re-record this entire intro, and it was so good and it was planned perfectly. I mean, I didn't even have a script, I was freehanding it, but it was so good, and now I have to redo and everything that I just said, so that's lovely. Anyways, welcome back to the channel. This week's episode is going to be about Sokka and Bolin comedy-wise. I am going to be talking about the differences between them, some similarities, and just overall stuff like that. But before we get into it, no, I do not have a sponsor. I'm just going to list some things or say some things about what I have planned coming up. So we all know Thanksgiving is coming up, and honestly, who really gives a shit about Thanksgiving? I honestly don't. The only reason why I do now is because my brother's birthday is literally like 3 days before Thanksgiving. So that's the only reason why I care about it. I'm the oldest, before he was, born, I really didn't care about it. But I feel like November is like the Thursday of every year, you're just waiting for Friday and the weekend, and that's Christmas. So, yeah. Anyways, back to the main topic of this video. I am just all over the place in this episode. Okay. So, for lack of a better word, I'm just gonna go ahead and say that Bolin's like comedic relief segments were a bit more childish, kiddie-ish, I want to say, than Sokka's, because like Sokka's was genuinely funny. It was at the right time to be funny, because even in the show, the gang were in serious moments and they like needed a pick me up, so Sokka would be like, say something funny. But when Bolin was funny, I noticed that it really wasn't the right time to be funny. Like this is not the right time for a joke. You get me? What did I just say? Have you ever, oh my god. Have you guys ever been in a situation where you guys are like hanging out with your friends or whatever, and someone makes a bad joke and it's like really awkward, and you can cut the awkwardness, weirdness with a knife? That's how thick it is. And then, someone says something else just to start up a different conversation and move on. Yeah, that's kind of how I would describe Bolin's comedic relief segments. A little bit, at least most of them. Or just the jokes were not that great. You feel me? Like Sokka's jokes were timed properly and were worded great, So yeah, but Bolin's were just either not the right time or like the wrong thing to say, I guess. I think that pretty much sums it up, because I'm thinking back to the jokes he said, and when, he put that sock in Zahir's mouth and was like, I put a sock in it, get it? And it was just quiet, and then Opal was like, oh yeah, that's Bolin. That just made it more awkward. And I'm thinking about like how he was telling Cora, I can't wait for you to leave. And it's like Mako was like, well, how else is she supposed to take that? See what I mean? There's a pattern here. All right, after doing some further research, I just looked up real quick some differences between Bolin and Sokka, because I felt like I didn't, say much. So I just kind of found this article. It's called Avatar 10 Ways Bolin is the Sokka of Korra, cbr.com. You guys can go take a look at it. There were a lot of similarities actually that I never even noticed between them. I just noticed that they were both comedic relief characters. But so I found a few more points that I would like to talk about, and I also found some Reddit, like a Reddit page about it, and there was some opposing views to my opinion, and I really like looking at those, because not everyone is gonna agree with you in your life, and who knows, maybe I might change my mind. So I looked at some of those too, and that Reddit page is called Sokka versus Bolin, the right and wrong way to create a comedic relief character. So yeah, I just looked at some of the comments they had, and there were some really good points. So from these two articles, I'm gonna go ahead and talk about those and say my opinions about those, just to add a bit more spice and more commentary to this video. The first point discussed was they were both very good with the ladies. I will admit, Bolin pulled a lot of girls just like Sokka did. Whether they were healthy relationships or not, both of them, pulled a lot of ladies. So yes, props to them. They have good game, I guess. I don't know why I wrote this point down. I just did. All right. Anyways, moving on. This next point is actually very good. So, and then I thought of yeah. Okay, here we go. So Sokka's humor was more witty and sarcastic. Like I said, Sokka's humor was more developed in the series, while Bolin's was more goofy. And this made me think about it more, and I realized that Bolin's humor is more on par with like Disney Channel humor, if you get what I mean. Also, just a side note here, I saw some previews, commercials for some upcoming shows, or like shows that are on Nickelodeon, and I will say it's gone downhill. It's plummeted a little bit when it comes to humor. I've seen some of the shows, and obviously they play the funniest segments they have to get more kids to watch the show, and I'm just like, "Oh Lord, how times have changed." Dude, when I look at stuff like that, it makes me feel so old, and then it makes me realize even more that I'm going to be 20 soon. Like, oh no. It makes me feel so old looking at the commercials nowadays. I look back to like, even I look back at commercials and stuff like that even before my time, like 90s stuff. So I'm an '03 baby, so yeah. It just makes me feel old. Like it's making me feel like a boomer. Yeah, it doesn't feel too good sometimes. Also, can we talk about the Monster High movie? Did y'all see that? I mean, I used to be a fan of Monster High back in like 4th or 5th grade. I dressed up as Draculaura, absolutely slayed. Okay, I didn't need a wig. I had her hair. It wasn't dyed, obviously. I was in 5th grade, but we spray painted my hair with that color spray, and yes, I absolutely slayed. So I used to love Monster High, and when I saw the movie, I was just disappointed. I was disappointed, but at the same time, I get that they're just trying to, market it, show it to sell more toys. But man, was that just, oh, like, so yeah, circling back to my point. Um, Basically, everybody, like Disney Channel, Nickelodeon now, even, I'm realizing it, I'm seeing it. What is considered funny and what is showcased, advertised as comedy is just, oh God. On my Instagram story, I posted because I saw this post and it said like, "Oh, I don't watch this movie for this. I watch it for the plot." And then it shows like the plot as like a really hot character they sent for or something, or just like a funny character. And I realized now in media, and I like what's the word? Oh my god. I'm just going to say analyzing, looking into. I like analyzing and looking into media, especially comparing it to, before years, and just, making guesses on what it's going to be like. But I noticed nowadays that they make movies and, just shows, like, the plot is just so god awful, but the graphics and the singing or something that's entertaining, like the entertaining parts, the most parts that stick out to you, are beautiful. Like the movies most recently, like Enchanted is getting a sequel, and the singing and the graphics look absolutely beautiful, y'all. I'm actually a very big fan of Enchanted, so I love that it's getting a sequel and stuff like that. And then also with Netflix's newest movie, where it's like they have to the school for the good and the bad or something like that. Beautiful graphics, but the plot was just all over the place. So yeah, I just wanted to mention that, and I think it's because everybody's what's it called, attention span is going like plummeting, like it's low, because our media is TikTok, which is just a quick 6-second video on average. So yeah, I think, companies are marketing, like, oh, look at our stuff. It looks really pretty, but the plot is just awful. I also noticed that with Thor Love and Thunder, the graphics, beautiful, but the plot, it's like, what is trying to be accomplished? Yeah, I just wanted to mention that. So comedy wise, everything is just like on par with Disney and stuff like that. So yeah, Sokka's humor, it aged well, I would say. Like he's still funny, like kids nowadays would think he's funny. Bolin is more, like I said, his humor was more like childish, goofy, kiddie-ish, you would say. like on par with the Shazam movie. I was, if you've seen the Shazam movie, you know what I'm talking about. But I compared him to Disney humor too. So if you've seen any like Disney humor or the newest Nickelodeon shows, you guys know what I'm talking about. You know. If you don't know, then have you been living under a rock all this time? Like, I don't know. I don't know. So another point that I saw that was actually pretty good was that Sokka has more balance with his comedy and more with his character and personality because he's supposed to be a genius, but then he still has jokes that are actually pretty funny, like I've said. Um, I also saw an opposing view to this one because someone said that his character is inconsistent because he's supposed to be a genius, inventions and all that, but then he goes and makes and thinks that Appa ate Momo, like it doesn't match up, and that his inconsistency makes him a less likable character. So I can see this point of view, but at the same time, I personally don't really agree with that. I still love Sokka as he is, but that was just a very interesting point that I wanted to bring up and bring to the table. So yeah. Basically, what they were saying is that Sokka lacks common sense, but is somehow still a genius. And they actually doubled down and backed up Bolin with this because they said at least Bolin is consistent with his character arcs, like you don't expect Bolin to be a genius when it comes to certain things, he's just goofy, kind of naive, stuff like that. So yeah, that pretty much wraps up all the points I could gather from that. I just didn't want this to be an 8-minute video. I like making longer content. That way you guys can just play it in the background. Let me know wherever if you guys like longer videos, shorter videos. I put a poll on my Instagram and I got more views. I just basically asked them, asked people, do you like long videos or short videos? Short being 10 to 12 minutes or less, long videos being 15 to 20 minutes or more. And a majority of them said longer videos, 15 to 20 minutes or more. So yeah, I like making longer videos. I also like making short videos. I like doing both. I prefer longer videos because I like to put it on as background noise and stuff like that. So just let me know what you guys like. And yeah, so just let me know what you guys like to see. Alright guys, I'm gonna go ahead and wrap up the video around here, so I don't really have any outros planned. I just have a phrase that I say, so I don't have an outro yet. I'm still working on getting one. I know we're already 10 videos into this channel and I still don't have a proper outro. I'm working on one. Okay? I make no promises though. I might just say random mumble jumble like I am right now as an outro. I'm also working on I'm working on making my own beat, just like a little jingle for this channel as like an opener and, an outro or whatever. And that's coming along pretty good, I guess. I don't know. I literally am struggling so hard with that right now. I have something going and then I try to throw other tracks on it and it just comes out god awful. So we'll see if I ever come up with something or throw something together that sounds mediocrely okay. Alright. Well, that's it from me for today, this week. So, I'll see you guys in the next one. Alright. Bye, guys.